There is no more important relationship that the United States has than with Canada. It is our best trading partner. Yes, it is, regardless of what you hear. It's our ally. It's our neighbor to the north. And Canada has always been there for us in our time of need, in our darkest hours, 9/11, Iran hostage crisis, storms. We just saw it recently in California where they sent the water carriers in to pour water over the fires in Southern California. Look, Canada's always been there for us, and I think what's happened over this last 110 days has been jarring, unsettling, and upsetting to Canadians, and rightfully so. I think today's meeting is a beginning of a reset moment. I would say beginning, but I would say everybody was watching. The body language, the handshake at the beginning, the Oval Office, where I've been in that Oval Office with Prime Minister Trudeau and President Obama. I know the context of it, and I know the feel of the room. It actually felt pretty good watching the clips here this morning. Now, we will have more details as the day goes on, but I think this is a beginning of a reset moment, and I think it's an important one for our bilateral relationship.
And I'm going to pick up on your metaphor of using natural disasters here. Over the course of the presidential campaign here in the U.S., you were fond of issuing a tsunami warning, indicating that if President Trump were to win, this could be, as I think you put it in an interview with Politico Pro, super bad, potentially super bad. When you think back on what you were warning about then, and indeed what has come to pass since then, was the super bad assessment merited? Is this as bad as you thought it might be in terms of how the relationship between these two countries has worsened in recent days?
Actually, it was a bit worse than I had expected. I did not anticipate a proposed cross-the-board 25% tariff, nor the language of the 51st state, which I think was wholly inappropriate. All of that was completely jarring for the Canadians, and being as upset as they are, look, you guys know this. The flights booked over the next several months from Canada on a pleasure basis or social basis to the U.S. are down 75%. The purchasing of American goods is not happening, whether it's in liquor stores, grocery stores, or otherwise. I mean, people are upset in Canada, and I think we need to find a pathway to fix this, and I think this is a good day to start.
I should say I just flew back from Montreal, and the airport, the terminal in which flights from Canada to the U.S. originate, much emptier than I've seen in the past. And to your point about liquor store shelves, I went out to dinner. There was a kind of a fire sale on Californian wine. They were trying to get rid of it, which was to my benefit while I was there. Let me ask you sort of what you hope to come out of this conversation. So I think that the broad line that we got from the president, the prime minister, is, look, there's a friendship between these two countries. Talks are going to go well. They're not going to talk about sovereignty over the course of their meeting at the White House today. What to you would constitute a success? So we've seen the kind of good, very evident visuals that these two men are seemingly getting along well. What tangibly would you like to see or hear about when these meetings conclude?
So I do not anticipate an agreement being waved in the air. That should not be anticipated. And I do not anticipate that all things will be healed. We heard that even in the early conversations with regard to president still wanting tariffs and the back and forth that's going on. But we need a framework in which the two countries can sit down with respective sides behind closed doors and sit down and discuss a path forward and work on a constructive give and take. And let's get this bilateral trading agreement fixed and updated and in an expeditious way. You know, USMCA, which was the president's agreement, is up for review next year. And so why wait till all the way through to next year to review that? In my opinion, that review should begin post-haste. And we should sit down and figure this out so that we can get an agreement that everybody's comfortable with. So business leaders here at the Milken Institute and throughout the United States can get comfortable investing in Canada, which they should be. I think it's an amazing investment opportunity to be investing in Canada today. And I am encouraging people. I also think it's an incredible opportunity to go visit Canada. And, you know, what a beautiful country. And if you want to have an international travel experience and take your family or friends, go to Canada. I think you'll really have a wonderful time.
Bruce Heyman, I want to ask you lastly for your perspective or insight into who Mark Carney is. As I mentioned, a colleague of yours at Goldman Sachs, somebody that I know you've observed when he was in his role as a kind of technocratic personality in Canada, running the Bank of Canada, and then, of course, running the Bank of England as well. He's a political novice, something he touted often when he was on the campaign trail. Just give us some insight here into how he approaches thorny issues like this one, this seemingly intractable one, sort of what you're going to be watching for, what we should be paying attention for in terms of how he kind of comports himself and approaches this job.
So everybody should know this is a serious person. He is smart. He is well educated from Harvard to Oxford. He has had incredible jobs leading the Bank of Canada during a financial crisis, leading the Bank of England during Brexit. He sat on some of the most significant boards from Bloomberg to Brookfield. He is a seriously smart and effective and experienced person. To sit at this moment is an important moment because that's what we're talking about: global trade, tariffs, economy. So he comes in with a great deal of competency. He also has a sense of humor, and he also, has a love of music, and he is a balanced, wonderful person. I think this is a good leader for Canada at this moment, and I think the Canadians are going to be proud of what he does in these meetings with Donald Trump, which are not easy. We've seen many leaders come in and out of that Oval Office and have very different experiences, and I think this is at least setting up to be a very good one for the Canada-U.S. relationship.